A white officer stopped a black woman, thinking he could harass her, but it turns out she's in the FBI. The streets were still and quiet as night fell, the city glowing softly under the streetlights. Lisa Morgan, the big boss at the FBI, the chief, had just wrapped up a really important security meeting at some government place. She liked driving herself when she could. After years in law enforcement, she really appreciated the peace and quiet of just being on the road alone. Dressed in comfy work clothes, with her FBI badge tucked away in her bag, Lisa was heading home when she spotted those familiar red and blue lights flashing in her mirror. She sighed, pulled over, and wondered, okay, what now? A cop, Officer Mike Reynolds, who was white, got out of his cruiser, adjusting his belt as he walked up to her window. He looked all serious, almost aggressive. He rapped on her window. Lisa rolled it down, making sure her hands were totally visible on the steering wheel. "Good evening, officer," she said, her voice steady and clear. "Is there a problem?" Reynolds just looked her up and down, his eyes getting narrow. "License and registration," he snapped, ignoring her question completely. Lisa raised an eyebrow, like, seriously? "Could you tell me why? Am I being pulled over or what?" she asked, wanting to know what was going on. Reynolds gave her this smug little smirk. "You fit the description of someone we're looking for," he said. Lisa let out a slow breath, like, here we go again. "And what exactly is that description?" she asked, keeping her voice level. Reynolds just blew off her question. "Step out of the car," he ordered. She stayed put. "Officer," she said, "unless you have a real reason for stopping me, I'd really like to know why you're asking me to get out of my car." Reynolds was clearly losing it. "I said, get out of the car," he barked, his hand hovering over his gun like he was ready to make things way worse. Lisa's jaw tightened. She knew she had every right to say no, but she also knew how fast stuff like this could spin out of control. She nodded slowly, picked up her purse, and got out of the car. Reynolds immediately grabbed her arm, like way too tight. "What are you doing around here?" he demanded, all rough. Lisa just stared at him, trying not to explode. "I work in this city, officer," she said. "I'm just driving home." Reynolds actually scoffed. "Yeah, doing what? You don't look like you belong in this neighborhood." He sneered, basically judging her by how she looked and where she was. Lisa took a deep breath to stay calm. "Officer," she said, trying to stay even, "I really think you should think about what you're doing here." He laughed, like it was a joke. "Oh yeah? And why is that, huh?" Without even blinking, Lisa reached in her bag and pulled out her badge. She flipped it open so he could see it. Big, clear words, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Chief of Operations. Reynolds' smirk just vanished. His eyes went back and forth between the badge and Lisa's face, and he went white as a sheet. "You're—" he mumbled, his voice just fading away. "Yup," Lisa said, totally cool. "I'm in charge of the FBI, and you just illegally stopped me for no reason, used way too much force, and profiled me because I'm black." Reynolds' hands started shaking like crazy. "Ma'am, I didn't realize." "You didn't ask," she cut him off, sharp and cold. "You just assumed." Right then, another cop car pulled up, and more cops got out, looking cautious. One of them, Sergeant Harris, saw Lisa and knew right away who she was and rushed over. "Chief Morgan, is everything okay?" Lisa crossed her arms. "Not really," she said. "Your officer here decided to harass me and stop me for no reason. I want to know if this is how your department normally works." Harris turned to Reynolds, his face going dark with anger. "You pulled over the FBI chief." Reynolds just stammered. I didn't know." "That's the whole problem," Lisa interrupted. "You never even bothered to find out. You saw a black woman in a nice car and decided I didn't belong here." Harris's jaw clenched tight, then he turned to Reynolds. "Hand over your badge and gun," he said, his voice hard. "You're suspended right now." Reynolds went completely pale. "Wait, sir," he pleaded. Now Harris's voice was like ice. Reynolds hesitated for a second, then unbuckled his belt and put his gun and badge in Harris's hand. He glanced at Lisa one last time, finally realizing he'd just ruined his entire career in a matter of minutes. Lisa let out a breath and looked at Harris. "I want a full report on how your department deals with stuff like this," she said. "Yes, ma'am," Harris said quickly. "I'm so sorry this happened." Lisa nodded, then turned back to her car. Before getting in, She looked at Reynolds one last time. Next time, she said, think before you act. You never know who you're messing with. And with that, she got in, started her car, and drove off, leaving behind a cop who had just learned a lesson the really, really hard way. Have you ever faced a similar situation? Share your experience in the comments. If you enjoyed this and want more content on inspiring Black stories channel like this, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching.